right, so 15 years in politics have made me a better developer. That's the claim of this talk, and that's what I'm going to go through for the next 30-something minutes. So, who am I to claim this? Well, first of all, I'm a developer at my everyday job. I work Kotlin in backend development for Norwegian Welfare Administration. I also give talks at conferences, typically about code or development. So, as you can see, familiar things here like microprofile, Jakarta EE, but also other Java-related topics. I'm an IBM champion, Oracle Ace Pro, and I work for a Norwegian consultancy company called Computas. So this is what I'm paid to do. In my spare time, this is also me, doing different part of politics work. So out meeting voters, sitting in meetings, deciding things, being part of the leadership of the party in Oslo, where I live. I've been for some years. I live in Norway, by the way. This is the Red Party. We're quite similar to PTB here in Belgium or Die Linke in Germany, but this is not, I'm not trying to convince you to become socialist, that's just so you know where I come from. And my claim is that there is a link between these. There are things you can learn both ways. And what is that? So that could also be could also have been the title of the talk, is like, how can politics help you become a better developer? That's what I'm trying to answer right now. So just a disclaimer, because this could have been a 4-hour talk, but I focus on the politics part because I assume that you already know some things about software. I hope so. So I'll focus on the politics part, but you can try to make like the connections yourself and link it to your experiences. That should be doable. So let's go. So every time you see this type of slide, it means a slight change of topic. I think I have 7 topics that we're going through. So time is probably going to fly, but that's life. So start with a message. So what are you actually trying to say? Like, because, okay, let me start there. Like, yes, as a developer, as a programmer, I typically write code, like, but every day you communicate with someone. You communicate with your colleagues, your manager, your testers, your domain experts, your customers, whoever it might be. You still communicate with someone. And whenever you communicate with someone, it's important that you speak words they can understand. If you are a developer, speak to a fellow developer, you can use one type of language, one type of words, and they will understand you. But if you talk to your lawyer or like your project manager, then you probably should use other words because they don't have the same deep knowledge about programming terms as developers do. This may sound basic, but I've seen so many developers like assume that the domain experts know so many technical terms. So be aware of that. The other one is like people have lots of things going on in their lives, right? You might have a good day, or you might have a bad day. You might have slept well and feel healthy and energetic and ready to start a new day, or you might feel like, well, I didn't sleep until 4 a.m. this morning, and my child was screaming again at 6 a.m. and yeah, I kind of hate my life right now, right? So when you communicate with someone, you should like use empathy and like see how is the person responding, how are they today in a sense, and that should also be like, well, you know, take me as an example. When I'm tired, I'm less patient with frustrating people. I see some of you are laughing because it's not only me, but like that's also like remember that, or like if you're talking to someone and you see that they are like then you probably should reconsider or take that into account when communicating further. So I'm going to talk a lot about communication, but communication is important in development as well. Yeah, you are competing for their attention. By that I mean that, well, maybe if that person didn't sleep well, that's one thing, but like maybe their child is sick, or maybe they're taking care of someone, or maybe maybe they're waiting for someone to call them back, or they are just simply working on their stuff, which is important to them. Like if you have an important task that is due in 2 hours, and a colleague comes to talk to you, then you might be less open to that than if you don't have that important task right upcoming, right? So you are competing for someone's attention and time. So respect that. And as a consequence of these previous slides, you can say that what is your most important message or question? And you should know that before going to talk or ask someone about something. It's like, what is the most important thing? Like, I know that we can discuss these 11 topics in great length because we share common interests or knowledge or so on, but sometimes you get to know what is the most important thing you need to know right now. Or the most important message you want to give. Like, if you give 7 messages to say a kid, but also a colleague or your spouse or whoever, it's like they probably won't get all 7 of them, right? So focus on the most important one. Okay, so that is the message. So, and the message is important, but you also need to deliver the message. And message could be it's a broad thing, right? You get it can be all from discussions to, especially message to questions to whatever it is. So first, don't make them feel stupid. I've also seen, and probably done as well, I have to admit, this mistake a lot of time especially from developers, which is like, and it goes back to where I started, that people have different backgrounds, different areas of expertise, they know different things, right? That's how it is, it's totally fair. But that also means that if you come up to a domain expert using programming terms, they will either be like, I don't get anything, or they will be like, well, I feel really stupid, but I guess since Mats is talking to me this way, I should know this. So I'm feeling a bit stupid, but I'm trying to follow up. So, but that feeling is not good. It's not good to be, whenever you're talking to someone, have feeling that, wow, does everyone know this? Am I stupid for not knowing these terms, for not knowing what he's talking about? So don't do that. Use words or explanations that make it possible for the one who you're talking with to understand what you're talking about. And as I'm saying this, it feels like, well, this is really basic stuff, but like it's not obviously not basic for everyone because I've seen so many times that it's not. So a concept from politics is framing. And framing is you have a problem, but you can describe that problem in several ways. So say that kind of the problem description. So one way of framing a problem is to say that we need to cut costs. Another way of framing the same concept is we need to increase income. And if you choose that the problem is that the costs are too high, then you focus like on how can we get lower costs. Then you do stuff to reduce the costs, right? But if you are focusing saying that, well, the problem is that we don't earn enough money, that we don't get enough money in, then you do other things to increase the amount of money coming in. So how you frame the problem also, it also determines what kind of changes you make, where you end up. And this one might sound counterintuitive to some of you. And it did to me like the first 4 times I heard it. But which topics you talk about is more important than what you actually say about them. And by that I mean that if you come up and talk to your product manager and say that we should switch into Kubernetes because Kubernetes is flexible and robust and great and cheap and blah, 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 blah. Chances are they might not remember much of what I said, but they may remember that I came to them to talk about Kubernetes. So the idea, the concept of Kubernetes sticks in their mind. So, and hopefully I'm so positive that what sticks to them is like Kubernetes and something positive. And that makes them think like Kubernetes is a positive topic. That's whenever someone comes to talk to me about Kubernetes, that's good. And Kubernetes is important. That's probably what sticks. And this is why you can see in political election campaigns, you can see that the different parties talk about different topics. And one party might talk about the same topic over and over and over again. And that is, in general, it's like the left parties tend to talk about welfare, welfare state and so on. The right-wing parties tend to talk about immigration and patriotism and so on. And why do they do that? Yes, because it's important areas for each party, but also because that is a field where that party typically has a strong standing and it resonates with surprisingly many people. And if you get the discussion to go about the topic that is generally good for you, then you're on a good path as a political party. But I said that the political parties talk about this over and over again. And that's because, yeah, you need to repeat it for it to stick, especially if it's a new and radical idea. So they might need time and maturation, like you might need to talk about it over and over again. So I said that your manager will remember Kubernetes, probably, but if you talk about Kubernetes every single week for a year, they definitely will remember it, right? So, yeah, if you repeat it, talk about it over and over again, you might also switch, like you might get the impression to slide from this is totally not doable into, well, we can do this, or like it gets more and more relevant. Of course, there's a limit to this as well. Like if you come in every day, every single day, every moment talk about the same thing, people might get tired of you. But like use some social intelligence, and that's not a big deal. So who do you need to convince? Often it's a few key people. So let's say I'm taking this Kubernetes as an example. Like I guess most people are already on Kubernetes today, but yeah, just for a simple, not that very controversial example, I'm using Kubernetes. So say that I want my team to go from on physical hardware running stuff into Kubernetes. Okay, who do I need to convince to that? Say that we are a team of 20 people, or like we in this room, we are the team. So who do I need to convince for us to switch to Kubernetes? I probably won't have to talk to you, each and every one of you, and convince you. I might need to convince like maybe her and him and her, and if they three are on board, the rest of you will listen to them. This is often how organizations and groups of people actually work. So think of that, like if you want to switch, you want to make a change, or to keep something also, then who do you need to convince to go there, to get there? And who should pitch the message? That's also like, if me and my colleague Rustam wants to change something, sometimes it might be smart that I am the one trying to pitch it. Sometimes it's better that he does it. I know that we agree, so yeah, I can let him do it. This is also. And in most organizations and most settings, there are someone that is always skeptical to everything. Like whenever management says something, that one guy, it's typically a guy, that says, no, this is a bad idea. It's better the way we did it before, right? Yeah, you're nodding, so we recognize this. But there's also someone in most organizations or groups that don't say that much. That few worded, as I named it here. And often when they say something, people listen much more to that because they know that, well, that guy complains about everything all the time anyway, so like no one is listening to him, so to say. So beware of this. It's like, who should pitch the message? And this is more like from a political perspective. It's like, if someone, like, should the minority people themselves pitch the message, or should someone that agree with them but belong to the majority pitch the message? So a typical example here could be like, well, if someone is saying bad things about gay people, should the gay people themselves feel the need to stand up to that, or should like non-gay people respond to that message, right? Or trans people, which is a big deal right now. Should the trans people stand up, or should we assist people instead? Take the battle with them. And this might depend on the context. Okay, so yeah, I see that time is flying. I've got a lot of things to say as well, but that's life. So next topic, direction. And what do I mean by this? I mean, first of all, pick your battles. Right? There are some decisions that are important in software development and in politics and everywhere else. Like whether you should use, say, Java or C# in your project. That's an important big decision. Whether you should use Maven or Gradle, less important. Whether you should use tabs versus spaces, that's not the battle I would choose. But like the more battles you take, the more, or like to say the other way, if you choose your battles, then you have a bigger chance of winning them. And don't panic, prioritize. Look into like what are the most important things? Which battles do I really want to win? And which ones can I let go without it being a really big deal? And I would just want to remind you of this, because every decision has downsides. Some examples, less coal, that's obviously good for the climate and for the local environment as well, but it also means that the coal miners, they need another job. And microservices are great in the sense that, in many senses, but it also means that you get a lot of moving parts. There are many things that can go wrong. On the flip side, there's also lots of bad things about monoliths, right? There are downsides with everything. This is a basic architecture concept, I would say, with software architecture. It's that every decision has a downside and hopefully upsides. So it's a trade-off. That's how it is. But let's just be reminded, like, don't say that this is the perfect solution, because it's like it might be the right solutions, but nothing in software is perfect. So you can see that compromise on tools, velocity, and so on, but not direction. And don't win too hard. And by that I mean, like, even if say that you're starting a project, you're trying to decide, like, should we do Java or C#, right? Which might happen. Like, if like those of you that want Java and those of you that want C# would still work together afterwards, you would still be colleagues, you would still be on the same team, you would still be working on the same issues. You would need to work together. And if the Java side wins, so that the project goes with Java, the Java people should be kind and considerate and nice to the people that originally wanted C#. Don't win too hard. Don't be like a bad winner. Be nice. But it also means that in like less decisive choices, you can say that, well, I have the majority on my side, so I want everything my way. Or you can say, like, well, I have the majority on my side, so the majority of things go my way, but I'll give something to those that lose as well, so they don't feel that bad. Often that might be smart. And sometimes, and to continue that, sometimes you should let them win. Like, say that we had that discussion in the team where me and you constantly disagreed and for like 7 different issues. And then comes up like an eighth issue, which I know that one is important to you, but it's not important to me. Then it could be like, yeah, okay, I trust your choice here. We'll go for your solution, right? Gives you goodwill, makes the one that gets that small or big victory more happy. Everyone's better off. So remember, who do you do things for? Why are you there? Because we are in a software team, we are there to produce something that someone needs, right? We're not there because we think it's fun to write code or whatever. That's obviously nice as well, but that's not why we're there. So remember, why are they paying you? Why are you there? And what is the most useful thing you can do right now? That's not always the thing that's what is the funniest thing I could do right now, but like what's the most important thing? What's the most useful thing for the team, for the greater good, so to say? Yeah, bear in mind alignment with bigger goal. So political examples. I want to go out and talk to voters, but someone must send that email about the catering for the meeting next week, right? Or I want to have a beer and chat with friends, but we need to find the key to the locked door for the meeting, whether that meeting should start soon. Yes, been there, done that. Or in a software context, like fix flaky tests. That's not fun, but flaky tests are not good for any software, anything. Or like if your colleague just gave you a huge review, a pull request to review. It might not be the one thing that you want to do right now, but might be the thing that you should do right now. Or answer that customer complaints, or yeah, there's always some tasks that aren't funny, but they are important as well. After that, have a well-deserved cup of coffee. I'm sorry that you can't right now. This is true. Like, has anyone in this room been to an office where the coffee has been good? Wow, I'm impressed. Where it has been great. Okay, I'll just this one to the next conference. But okay, the coffee at political parties office. Don't go there. It's coffee. That's the best thing I say. Okay, should be halfway through. Oops. Yep. That's okay. Team. We need to talk about team. I've been speaking about teams already, but it's important. So, working together, doing something together, creating something, changing something, spending time doing an effort together builds unity. It brings, or can build unity, strong relations, and a sense of community, which is good. But remember a couple of things. So first, be kind, be nice. I already spoke about that, but it's true in our context. Like, even if you're a bit tired, or even if you're a bad day, like, it's not your colleague's fault, it's not your coworker's fault, hopefully. If not, that's another issue, of course. But be kind to everyone, even when they frustrate you, which they do, of course. So you have a bias, I have a bias, in the sense that I tend to like things or proposals or ideas or whatever it is from people I like more than from people I don't like. But people I don't like might still have good ideas. And you need to trust each other in the team. Like, if you're working together, if you've seen a political debate on TV, there is one people from each party sitting there, but there are so many people in the team around that's been preparing them from that debate, like communications people, PR people, but also experts on different issues. All the people working around to get that one person there. Kind of like the same as we saw with the Formula One yesterday. So we need to trust each other in the team, right? If the party leader doesn't trust her PR advisors, that's not going to end good. Don't second guess your colleagues all the time. Sometimes it might be good, like for important issues or important choices and so on, but like if you're second guessing your colleagues' choices all the time, it doesn't really build trust. Yeah, trust, don't misuse it. As you all probably heard lots of times before, building trust takes time, losing it is fast. Gets done fast. So, communication and feedback. Everything is communication, but like to this specifically. How you ask, like how you structure and how you present what you're asking feedback for determines what feedback you get, what kind of feedback you get, and what you get feedback on. double up. And whether you ask open or closed questions, right? Yeah. And the more details you give, the more things you can get feedback on, which might be good, might be bad. We're sometimes you want detailed feedback on everything, but other times you just need well, I want to I have a suggestion that we switch from Java to Kotlin. What do you think my boss would say about that? It's a totally different question to ask than, well, I have a suggestion that we switch from Java to Kotlin, and we should look into Java or Kotlin version this and this, and maybe have a look into Cater and these different aspects of Kotlin, blah, 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 blah. Then you might get different kind of feedback, right? So, and the context determines what you need, what you want here. So, and that's positive feedback in a sense, but criticism happens. And understand it. By that I mean listen, but don't follow blindly. So when someone comes up to you and has a feedback, say negative feedback, you should listen to them, but don't follow it blindly. And also try to answer this question: where does the criticism come from? Is it a good place? I know you are a good person, and I want you to improve on this part, or is it a bad place? Most often, I would say, it's a good place, and then you should listen. If it comes from a bad, and listen and learn from it as well. But if it comes from a bad place, haters gonna hate, right? So if everything you show them is Java code and well, Java is crap, you should rewrite it into Go or Rust or whatever. It's come on, that does not come. Either that probably doesn't come from a good place. I can show you the best Java code ever, but you would it would be better in Rust. Or for me, from a left-wing party, blah 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 Stalin, whatever we talk about. It's come on, that's not a proper reply when I'm talking about better infrastructure for electricity, right? And don't waste time and energy on the haters they're gonna hate. And they typically show up in comment fields on the internet, but also other places. Don't waste time and energy. Speaking of don't waste time and energy, we need a little chat about meetings. So this is a claim as well. Meetings are always too long. There are exceptions. I've been to a few meetings that haven't been too long. A few. I've been to quite many that, well, could have been shorter. Let's put it that way. And there are some people in this world, and some people it feels like every single group, that talk and talk and talk until someone stops them. It might be you, and I'm not accusing anyone for anything, but notice the fact that some people need to talk a lot, and someone needs to stop them sometimes. And talking about stopping people is you need an agenda. Every meeting needs an agenda. If the meeting doesn't have an agenda, no reason for you, no stated reason for being there, then why should you be there? Say no and go somewhere else. Or ask for it. That would probably be kinder. But why are we having this meeting? What are we trying to accomplish? Which issues are we going to talk about? Should be basic. And you need guidelines and you need culture. And you need both. So what do I mean by guidelines? It could be as simple as when someone is talking, someone else is talking, you are not talking. It could be don't talk for hours, or don't talk very long. It could be and be there on time. It could be that could be very simple guidelines. But you also need a culture that when the chatty person is talking and talking and talking, someone needs to say that, well, thank you. I think it's time for the next one to talk now. Or if you have guidelines and no one is following them, then hardly any use anyway. So you need both. And yes, I had a meeting yesterday at the political party myself that was like, yes, these slides are still relevant. So yeah, so I tried to keep the section on meetings short, just for the sake of it. So expectations. We expect things from each other, right? I expect you to do a good job. You expect me to do what I said I should do. But also, when you are on the street for a political party, talking to people, talking to voters, being visible, like trying to make connections with people, trying to get into communication, talking about them, like what is important to you, what issues are important for you. People expect you that, well, since you are here representing the party, you should know everything. You are here, like for the party, you should know everything. And like, what are your opinions on the situation in Fiji? Like, or as a question I got once was like, what is your stance on importing snakes to Norway? And I was like, well, I'm here to change the world and make sure that everyone has food and safe income and so on. I don't really know what I think about importing snakes to Norway, but people expect you to have opinions on everything. That's like, as a software architect as well, it's the same thing, right? There are lots of big and small decisions to take all the time, and people expect that you have opinions, or that you know about everything. But there are so many things in the world, and so many things in the software world. Yeah, so not to be positive, but it's never good enough. It will never be good enough. Whatever you do in politics or at work, it will never be good enough. Sorry to say to you. But by that I mean, you can always do more. That's the more positive way of saying it. It's like, there's always another door to knock, another call to make, another meeting to prepare, another voter to meet, and so on. And in software as well, like, there's always some technical depth somewhere. You can always improve the documentation. You can always fix some more bugs, and so on. So however much work you do, you can always do more. But you need to be able to say that, well, I've done a great job. We did a great campaign. No election night is here. We are happy with the work we have done. Yes, we did sleep at night. Yes, we did spend hours at work not doing campaigning stuff, right? But like, you should be happy yourself, even though you could always do more. But if you've done a lot, more than expected, then you should be happy with yourself. And there also, yeah, this one is kind of a pet peeve to me. It's like, people notice many tasks only if no one does them, or if no one does them properly. The typical example of this is from the soccer field, where if you have, what's it called in English, a judge, like if two teams are playing a soccer match and no one is steering them, there is no one on field there, then you notice it. Or like, if the one team gets a penalty which they shouldn't have, then it's noticed. But if no one notices anything, that's a good sign, right? And it's the same. It's kind of the same in political organizations as well. Like, if you go to a meeting and there is no coffee, people notice it. If there is coffee, no one will think about it. But someone was there and made that coffee earlier that day, spent their time on that. And there are lots of tasks in software as well, typically done by women, that no one observes unless they aren't done. So, to try to summarize, I think these are probably the three most important things I hope that you remember from this talk. It's like, number one, prioritize. Number two, adjust the message to the context and to whoever you're talking to. And number three, work together. Because in professional software life, you are not doing things all by your own. At least you're making something for someone, right? You have a customer or an end user or someone that needs your work. And probably you have colleagues as well, your teammates. You have all the other people around you that you need to work together with to get even further. So, actually, we have a few minutes, I think. Does anyone have any questions, by the way? Yeah, you in the back. Do we have a microphone, please?
What would you say your biggest perspective change was, or learning from politics back to software? Like, if there was one thing you had to be like, shit, I never realized this before, what would that one thing be?
Ooh. I think it's the most, yeah, I think that's where I started, in the sense that people often don't grasp everything you say. So that if you, I used to do that when I was like, yeah, early on in my career. I used to like come up to one of my colleagues and say that, well, I have this suggestion about this and this, and then I was talking for like 5 minutes, like, this is a good idea, like this is a good product because of this and this and so on, and then I would like afterwards realize that, well, they didn't really grasp like a tenth of what I said. So I think like probably that might be another way to prioritize, but it's more specific. But I would say that is the most important thing I've learned.
Cheers.
But that's a great question, and yeah. Yeah, no, let's stick to that for now. I'll let it go by here. So, are there more questions before starting? I have some bonus slides, so I'm going to go fast through this because this is like also important or interesting, I would say, analogies. So, election campaigns are quite similar to trying to win a procurement. A procurement is like where the government says that we need someone to help us build the healthcare system for this hospital. And it was like, well, we want to choose between one of the consultant companies that do that. And how come that is a similar? Well, several organizations spend lots of resources. Like election campaigns are expensive, but also like trying to win that procurement means that you need to answer this and this and this and so on. Lots of hours of work. Someone wins. Most of the time, someone ends up losing. So all that work is for kind of nothing. You still learn some things along the process and so on, but shortly put, nothing. Focus thrown away from day-to-day work, right? Because election campaigns, even though there are election campaigns, there are still like the normal political day-to-day life is going on. So you need to still do your duties in the parliament or the government or the city council or wherever it is, even though you're trying to win the next election. Same things with trying to win a procurement, you still need to do what you are actually doing right now. And you might promise too much. That can be hard to deliver later on. Been there, done that, both in political and software settings. Polling, like who is winning this election, we ask some voters. Quite similar to estimation. Like both are best guesses with lots of uncertainty. I could also say throwing a dice sometime, but that's not kind to say, so it's best guess. So let's finish up with some rants. If time says 5 minutes, good. Okay, beware of focus thieves. By that I mean, if you have seen, I think you especially see this in politics, you see it with female candidates. You saw it with Hillary Clinton, you saw it with Kamala Harris, and so on. There's so much focus on the suits. Like, no, sorry, the dresses, I mean. Like, there's so much focus on how are they dressed, like, how are they standing during the debate? Well, did he sound like, how did he sound today? All these things, right? But it's also the spelling mistake in your UI. I guess like the red ES on this slide disturbs a lot of you, right? And this like beware of them. And words may be confusing. Like agile, right? What is agile? Or Scrum, which also has turned out to mean a lot of different things for different people. Or no-fly zone. Does anyone in the room know what a no-fly zone is? No, exactly. That's what we called it, or the media and politicians called it when we bombed Libya in 2011. That was a no-fly zone. Special military operation, that's a Russian term for what's going on for the war in Ukraine right now. Or working capital, which is like that, typically stocks. 98%, at least in Norway, 98% of what is called working capital is stocks. And making decisions can be hard, right? Sometimes you have different options, of which all are good or all are bad. You need to choose between them. If you don't choose, that's also making a decision. Not making a decision is also making a decision. Sometimes it might be the right one to say, like, we don't need to solve this problem yet. It might be a better solution coming up in half a year. Typically AI sphere these days, but it's also a decision. Yeah, don't remove features your users need. I'm one of those people that used Google Reader a lot until Google decided that, well, we don't do that anymore and shut it down. Thank you very much. And don't shut down people's local school. They won't be happy. Yeah, same TLDR. And that was my talk for today. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. I'll be here the rest of the conference, so please come talk to me if you have questions or opinions or anything. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.